Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison, and I got Jerry on the other line right now. We are going to be talking about this spy balloon going over the whole country right now. Right now, it's in Montana. And Jerry, you want to say hi?
Hi, what's up?
Hey. We're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to talk about, first of all, my father, who brought something up many, many years ago. And then we're going to talk about Jerry. Jerry was in the Marine Corps. My father was also in the Marine Corps, so Jerry knows a lot of history of what's going on out there, and we'll be talking about that as well. So, excuse me, sorry, I've got a dry throat right now, so allergies. But anyway, let's talk about this. So, first of all, my father was in North Korea. He fought against the Chinese government back in the day when he was fighting against the North Koreans. My father has nothing against the Chinese people. It's the government. The government's the problem here. Now, that's only part of the problem. The other part of the problem I'm going to talk about is our own government, what they're doing and not doing right now. So, my father told me many years ago, he said, Brian, keep an eye on Russia and China. And I said to my father, I said, you know how much money we got invested and everything else with China? I will never see that. This was before he passed away 3.5 years ago. And I was sitting here saying that, and he kept saying, nope, keep an eye out. And he knew what he was talking about, because look what's going on. So, there have been all kinds of talks about war and all this stuff out there. God knows we don't want that. Talk about Taiwan, which is 85% of the chips, or maybe 95, something like that. The chips come out of Taiwan, even for car manufacturers. If China goes after them, then we have a real problem there too. So that being said, I'm going to talk about a couple things. This balloon that's going over the country. Why the hell, and I'm going to cuss a little on this show because I'm not happy with what's going on. Why the hell is our government not doing the right thing and taking this thing down? They know it's a spy satellite. China has confirmed it's theirs. Why the hell have they not taken this down? First of all, the Pentagon spoke today and said, well, we're just going to keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. It's been up there for days. It's over Air Force bases right now. It's over, apparently, my understanding, it's over in Montana where there's some nuclear sites. I'm not going to say where because I don't know, but that's what I've been hearing myself. Are they mapping our country out? I mean, yeah, okay, we can map it out on a satellite. That's what some of these liberals out there are going to say. But again, no joke. This is serious stuff. Take the damn thing out and do your job up in D.C. This is what you're paid for. You know what they're talking about right now, Jerry, in Pennsylvania, Harris and Biden? They're talking about clean water. They're not talking about this balloon at all. Not at all. The man is incompetent. He's not doing his job at all. Oh, yeah, all I can see is, the jobs report came out today. He's doing a great job. You know, I'm hearing about that. Unemployment's this. This is serious stuff going on right now. This is an invasion of our country when you have something like this flying over our country. Am I correct on this, Jerry?
You're absolutely correct. I mean, as far as, what you're just saying about,
right.
They're saying, that they could be mapping and maybe they could use satellites to map and everything like that.
That's my theory.
I'm pretty sure that Chinese satellites don't spend a lot of time over the U.S. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, too, regardless of what that balloon is doing over the U.S. airspace, It doesn't belong there.
No. Think about if we flew one over China. What are they going to do?
Oh, it would already be down.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't be talking about it, and they wouldn't be discussing it and, talking about like, oh, gee, what should we do? It'd already be gone.
Absolutely. And it should be gone. Take it down and do your job. We don't give a damn about clean water right now when we got that.
That's why countries have sovereign airspace and,
and
sea space and things like that other countries are not supposed to violate that.
Right. And yet Biden, not going to say anything about it. They got planes there. I heard they got planes up there right now, and they're waiting on orders. They don't know what to do because Biden's not giving any orders. Why? Jerry,
well,
you answered this earlier. Go for it.
Yeah,
Why?
let's think about this because we've heard all the stories about how Hunter Biden is collecting tons of money from China, and Hunter Biden is in bed with China, and a lot of the money he gets, he passes on to Joe Biden. And that China, in my opinion, probably has, blackmail material against Joe Biden because of his son. And so right now he's being very cautious not to anger China, because if he does, then they might go ahead and say, okay, fine, then we'll take down your presidency and we'll expose you. And there's actually a whole lot more evidence of that than there was about Trump and Russian collusion.
Absolutely. And why are we not hearing about these documents anymore? It just kind of got quiet real quick. I haven't heard anything.
Well, because we're talking about clean water in Pennsylvania. That's why. Guys, you got to have priorities, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, this is not a laughing matter out there. I've seen some people post little things like Winnie the Pooh holding a balloon and things like that, and people are talking about it. But this is a serious, serious thing, and we need serious people to take care of it. And Joe Biden and the administration up there and the Pentagon's not doing a damn thing about it. Those are not serious people taking their job in the right way.
You got to remember the guy in charge is that, what's his name, General Milley.
Yes.
And then the Pentagon spokesman is, that guy that is now, he was an admiral under Obama and, Kirby. And, he's just a lying piece of trash. And so everybody, unfortunately, what we've gotten to is in administrations, we don't just put the best person in the job. We put the person that we want in the job that'll protect us and watch our back and everything like that. So, you've got these people out there that, they know. I guarantee there's people at the Pentagon right now that are just slamming their fist on their desk and punching walls and slamming doors and very upset because we're not doing anything.
Right.
But they can't say anything.
Yep. And us as Americans, the American people can say something about it. And that's what I'm doing right now. Right. I am speaking out about this, and lots of people are. I'm hearing about it on the news. You got news reporters telling Biden, hello, can you talk to us about it? And he turns his back, the little frail man walks away.
Well, yeah, because, he really has nothing to say about it. He's, this is like somebody who has been absolutely 100% caught cheating on their spouse. And, somebody confronts them about that in front of their spouse. What can you say? It's like, I don't want to talk about that. You turn around and walk away. And so, that's Biden. I think he's been caught with his hand in the cookie jar here. And, I think that the Chinese are pushing it to see how far they can go and what they can get away with. And this is something you and I discussed the other day when we were just talking. And that was, under Obama, the Syrians were using chemical weapons, or they were about to use chemical weapons. And Obama said, if you use them, that's a red line that if you cross that, there'll be dire consequences. Well, then they use chemical weapons. Nothing happened. Mm-hmm. Well, then they understood that Obama wouldn't do anything. Right. And so what's funny is when Trump got in, Trump told him, I'm not Obama. And the Syrians brought Russians in, and Trump killed, I think, 400 Russian soldiers that were in Syria, because they were fighting the Americans. And he said, no, we're not going to have that. So then they realized that Trump was nobody to be trifled with. Right. And you saw how much trouble we had with Russia under Trump.
Right.
And you saw how much trouble we had with China and North Korea and Iran. And now we're having trouble with all of them again.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they know that we've got a president and administration and won't do a thing about it.
And don't be surprised if they're not talking to each other behind closed doors.
Probably.
And saying, hey, look, you go ahead and fly this balloon over the U.S. and let's see what the response is. And hey, Russia, you go ahead and invade Ukraine because the U.S. isn't going to get involved. We'll see how far they let you go. And Iran, you go ahead and keep enriching nuclear material to weapons grade, and we'll see what happens. And North Korea, you keep, firing off test missiles. And, and by the way, everything that I just mentioned has happened.
Yep.
Okay. It's not like a fantasy story. Everything I just mentioned has happened and is currently in the news.
Yeah. And that's why I'm talking about things that are currently in the news that we're all hearing about right now.
Because the Iran nuclear enrichment program was just in the news, 2 days ago, one day ago, something like that. And it's like, so everything I mentioned is something that had stopped under Trump and has restarted under Biden. And each of them is a threat to us.
Yep. Hey, my wife wanted to say she was trying to look at the balloon through a telescope.
Right.
And just to give you a heads up, she saw the North Korean leader on top of the balloon running around. She made that joke up earlier. I thought it was funny.
That's
She said,
nice.
he's flying it up there. It could
I
be
had a
him.
friend of mine take a picture of, oh gosh, it's been probably 4 or 5 years ago now, but it was pretty darn hilarious.
Yeah.
He took a gummy bear and he scrunched it down. And when he scrunched it down, it looked like Kim Jong Un.
Oh gosh. But this is serious. So a lot of things are going on I've been hearing about all day. First of all, you know how much money these companies, some companies are pulling out of China right now. Why are we doing business? These companies out there, I'm going to go into it. Why are you doing business? Again, why are you doing business with people that with a government abuses their own people?
I can answer that question.
Money.
Yep. And you know why the money is there?
Go for it.
Child labor.
Bingo. And you know what?
I mean, they have people working in these factories. They have children that are working there for literally, pennies a day, like a day. And when I say pennies a day, I'm not talking an 8-hour workday with benefits and a 40-hour work week or anything like that. I'm talking these kids go in there 14, 16 hours a day,
right,
with very few breaks, very little food to eat. They're given pennies a day, and the adults don't get much better treatment. And so, a pair of Nikes that, would cost, maybe $150 to $200 to produce over here, or $80, let's say, to produce, probably costs about $6 or $8 over there. So the profit margin when they get the product to market is going to be much higher. And I use Nike as an example, but there's many companies that are doing that.
The owners of these companies need to look at themselves in the mirror and actually say, I don't have a soul. Because by doing that, that's basically what they are.
Yeah, but you know what, Brian? What they do is they go out and they buy carbon credits and tell everybody that they're saving the world. And so they tell themselves that they can live with themselves, and then the rest of the world tells them how generous and great they are.
Right. And the truth is, you're not.
I mean, let's think about like John Kerry. I mean, we know that his wife is the heiress to the Heinz ketchup, fortune.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, it's like, okay, hey, great, he's the climate czar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How come Heinz is still using plastic bottles for their ketchup, their mustard, their relish, their, all the other stuff that they make? How come they're still using foil packets in restaurants? How come they can't come up with some greener, biodegradable packaging? And it's like, and then he flies around to these conferences on private jets. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, it's just ridiculous hypocrisy.
Yep.
And he's flying around to countries that support China. And so
I know.
It just blows my mind how, people don't really look through these hollow gestures and hollow actions.
So one thing I want to say too is if you look at every name tag, everything you have out there, whatever it may be, I mean, if it's, I got things on my desk here, remotes, whatever the case may be, most of the stuff says China.
Oh, I fully agree.
And
I hate it, but sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
I know. And there's a lot we can do about it. It's called Made in America. Why are we
No, I agree with that too.
I know you do. But why
I will pay a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I'll pay a little bit more, but I can't pay double and triple, on, certain products. But yeah, I'll pay more.
Shouldn't have to. If it's made in America, we shouldn't have to. Oh, the child labor. But beyond that point, they're right here in the own country. Our own country, the shipping shouldn't be as much and all that. That's just a thought.
See, but that's another problem too.
I know.
The shipping is subsidized by the Chinese government.
I know.
And so,
there you go. You got it.
Yeah. So it's like that. Their government. I mean, because frankly, think about it. Their government doesn't want our government to exist.
No.
So they're going to do what they can. So if they have to subsidize, their companies, they will. And frankly, the other thing that was happening too, and this is something you and I had talked about probably a year ago. When people would go to do business in China, they would have to turn over their information and technology to the Chinese to show them what they were making and how they were making it. Well, then the Chinese just turn around and copy it, and then they don't need even to use us anymore.
Yeah.
And, there was a certain couple of companies that said, no, we're not going to do that. But for the most part, any company goes over there. So if you don't think that the Chinese know how to make an iPhone of their own, well, they do. They've got our technology because we gave it to them just so we could use their factories and their child labor and stuff like that.
Right. So I'm going to say something. Give me a minute here. When you look at what's going on just what's going on in this world with China and everything else, I mean, we're hearing it all the time. I mean, we had a general just say, "Oh, we'll be in, war with China in 25." Again, that's just speculation talk. Who knows? I don't know.
But if we don't change something, it could be true.
It could be true. And we need to show strength. And the purpose maybe of that is to say we need to start building our military up, get back on our feet where we were. It's not that we want to go to war, but we need a defense. And
Correct.
To have a big military to protect our nation, our country, is a huge thing. When you cut the budget of the military, that's a problem. And then China knows it. They know we're weak. The other thing I heard today, too, is most of the pharmaceuticals come from, which I knew this years ago, come from China.
Absolutely.
And again, here we are where they're getting fentanyl across the border right now in China. They're saying China's part of this.
Oh, well, that information's been out there for years.
Absolutely. Makes sense out of this, people.
Yeah.
The show is called Common Sense, and a lot of you don't have it. I'm telling you.
Well, and think about what a great racket for the Chinese.
Yes.
To know that, getting people addicted on drugs is, a bad thing for them and a good thing for you because it weakens their response, ability. And so then what they do is they then just provide the drugs, make them cheap or free or, whatever.
Yep.
And so, and they're just sending them in. I mean, don't think for a second that a lot of that fentanyl that's coming over here isn't coming in free. And, they're just supplying it.
Well, look how many people are dying of fentanyl. Why isn't Joe Biden talking about that ever? Ever. Never says,
No,
I've never heard him or Harris say one word about fentanyl. All I heard was Harris get up there and talk about water today. And, typical Harris, all she does is get up there and laugh.
Yep.
That's all she does. Giggles, gets up there and laugh.
The other day, give a speech, talk about the founding documents of our country.
Oh, I
and
heard.
When she got up and she was speaking about the founding documents of our country, okay, one of the things was, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
Okay. Well, she was talking to a pro-abortion crowd, so she left out life. She said, our founding documents guarantee us liberty and the pursuit of happiness. So you just rewrote our founding documents now, unilaterally by yourself, that's like Joe Biden declassifying documents that he's not allowed to declassify.
Oh, yeah.
But, but that's the kind of people, and that's why they won't stand up to China because, for one, she's incompetent.
Right.
And, it's like, and she knows she's in over her head.
Yeah.
And she's just trying to tread water until, this ride ends for her. Whether it's they lose an election or she winds up not being chosen as a running mate or she serves out a second term, whatever that may be. She's just trying to not be exposed as the incompetent person that she is.
Right. Did you see, and I'm going to say it, I saw, I forget her name, Omar, the one that just got let go of.
Ilhan
Omar. Yeah. Yesterday, apparently, she put something on Twitter, and I'm going to say it. Apparently, somebody put a death threat. I guess they all get death threats. It's so stupid.
Of course. All politicians.
Yeah. But literally, anybody out there putting death threats on anybody is stupid. Don't ever do that. There's no reason to do that. Anybody that does that is stupid. There's no reason at all to do that. She shouldn't have come out and blamed things on the Republicans. What she should have done is come out and say, look, we all get this. This is terrible when, people are monsters like this do this, and it's not fair for anybody in the government or anybody anywhere.
Let's take a different step on this one.
Yes,
let's take a different step on this one, okay?
Yep.
So she's complaining about the death threat, and I heard audio of one of them. Okay.
I did. I heard it too.
So let's go ahead and ask this question, okay?
I know where you're
going.
If
we have a credible death threat against a sitting U.S. politician,
right?
Okay, why is the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago for documents that Trump already said that he would turn over to them, and not out looking for the person that gave this death threat against this politician?
I was thinking the same thing when I heard this video or
and it's like, and the thing is, I mean, so how is it that we have stuff that is not really a threat to our country, and we're out investigating or not investigating, as it were. So we're out there. They knew that the Russian collusion story was false before they even went forward with the impeachment.
Right.
So they've known all these different things. So the FBI is out there running around chasing their tails and doing this ridiculous stuff, that they know is not true. But then when we've got a death threat against a sitting a member of Congress, they're not going and finding that person. And I got to tell you something. I guarantee you, I promise you, is I will give just about anything anybody could imagine that I have, I would give to them if they could tell me that there's no way to trace that guy. Okay, because there's a way to trace that guy.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guarantee there's somebody out there that knows his voice and says, "Oh my God, that's so and so."
Yep.
I guarantee that there's a way to track the phone number he called from, or the internet connection that he used, or something. There's some way to find that person.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and so the thing is, the fact that we're not finding the person tells me that what it may be is possibly even a false flag.
Hey,
where her own people did it.
Maybe. Hey, just ask China. They got a balloon up there. Maybe they got the information already faster than what we did, apparently.
You know what? It's funny that you say that, Brian, because it probably didn't come from the balloon. But if I were China, I would have the information on where that threat came from.
Yeah.
Because I'd want to know if it's credible, because they don't want Ilhan Omar out of office, because they know that, she's sympathetic to their cause.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody that's a threat to Ilhan Omar, the Chinese would probably help stop that threat.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not really a threat to her, then they probably want to find this guy so they can help him out. You keep sowing those seeds of hate, buddy. I mean, because you got to remember the Chinese, spies. I'm just going to use the word spies. It's like, but the Chinese spies, they're not like all on the television, man. They're not a bunch of guys walking around with buck teeth and thick glasses and going, "Oh, I saw you." I mean, these are guys that, a lot of them speak English as well as you and I do. And,
right.
If you were speaking on the phone with them, you'd never even know that you were speaking to somebody that, was of Asian descent. And these are intelligent people that many have grown up here in the United States and know our ways and everything like that. So trust me in the fact that, one of these guys is sitting in a bar one night, and some guy's sitting there talking about Ilhan Omar, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you should call her. Yeah, you should just tell her what you think, man." And it's like, I mean, because if I were sitting in China and somebody was bashing the Chinese government, I might do the same thing to one of their guys. Yeah, you should call somebody and tell them. It's just like your friends egging you on. It's right before those last famous 4 words. "Hey, y'all, watch this."
Yeah. But I tell you, anything like that's a real problem, no matter if it was what Jerry said, which is possible, or if it's somebody really out there doing it. And there are people out there doing it. Stop doing that. But a real threat, they wouldn't call up. And the guy, in my opinion, the guy sounded like he was under the influence. Maybe, yeah, probably.
A real threat, they wouldn't call.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I guarantee you, there's enough people with experience in subterfuge and espionage and things like that. But if somebody really wanted to get, Ilhan Omar doesn't have 24-hour security. If somebody wanted to get to her, they could. Just like there's no 24-hour security on like Jim Jordan and Adam Schiff and Tom Cotton and all those guys. It's like, I mean, they don't have 24 hours. It's not like in the movies where some chauffeur's driving them around and the chauffeur's got, a pistol under his shoulder and a machine gun in the trunk and everything like that.
Yeah, I know. But look at obviously look at Pelosi's husband.
Yeah, exactly. Great example.
Yep.
And so, so if somebody really wanted to get to him, so, for her to be coming out and saying, I'm getting death threats, you know what? death threats, that's like trash talk before a football game when you're doing warm-ups across the field from the other team.
Yeah, and it's a terrible thing. It's terrible.
Oh, I agree. They shouldn't exist, but
no.
They're not credible. If somebody really wanted to do something, they wouldn't call her drunk and tell her. They would do it.
Right. But good news is nothing has happened. Nothing will happen, I hope. So that was crazy what happened.
Well, not against Democrats.
Yesterday. No. Against anybody. Well,
we did hold practice shooting.
Yeah, you got to hold on. We got a valid point there, and I can't remember her name. She just got. I heard she just got shot. Who was it? One of the Republican congresswomen. What was her name?
You know what? I forgot.
Just heard about it, and I just posted it this morning. Matter of fact, the news isn't talking about that. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Very interesting news in talking about that. Let's sit here and try to find it. Should have done this while you were talking.
But I mean, but see, the thing is, it's funny, Brian, because the Democrats actually do violence against people on the right. They actually do violent acts, and they attempt to take people's lives. Rand Paul's neighbor put him in the hospital with a broken rib and a punctured lung. Steve Scalise almost died in gunfire from one of Bernie Sanders' supporters. And so when you look at, all these people that, have been attacked, I mean, it's like, 99% of all political violence is from the left against the right. And so, when the left says, oh, I got a death threat, I think a lot of times that it's to gain sympathy. And, I mean, they're just trying to keep up with the Joneses and like, well, the Republicans, we can't let them get all the sympathy for death threats, so we need to have some of our own.
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it right now, so I was just seeing if it was out there.
I remember hearing about it, but you're right. I haven't heard much in the news, and that's why I don't remember the name.
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. I posted it. Hold on. Posted it out there. I posted it to you, actually.
You know what? I'll go look back in my phone.
I'm looking right now, guys.
But that's just another example, I mean, and then when there is left violence against the left, half the time it turns out to be from the left against the left. Like, with Gabby Giffords, that was one of her own people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, I mean, today I'm really, and I really want to talk about China more, and that's what I really wanted to discuss on this. But, guys, anything like that's ridiculous. And we got to see them last night. And they're trying to make this whole thing now a race issue as well. It's not. It really isn't. It's gotten stupid. It's all. Did you see that where the all of them were out there? They were speaking last night. A couple of them.
About Ilhan Omar.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they can't handle having a woman of color in a position of power. Really? Well, how come we're not out?
Right.
Protesting against Harris.
Right. I'm not. I don't care if anybody's purple, pink, whatever, as long as they're doing a good job.
And she wasn't.
No. And then did you see Cortez last night? She's out there. I mean, I thought she was.
Joke she is.
I thought she was having a seizure or something. She's like jumping on, talking. I mean, what the heck was that about?
But you know what? You get up in front of an audience like that. You're on television.
Yes.
And you do that. And, one of the things I would love to see is these politicians sit down in an actual town hall meeting.
Yeah.
And answer questions. When they hold these town halls, they cherry pick the questions.
Yeah.
And even if somebody sneaks in, a legitimate question that's not cherry picked, then they talk around it and don't actually answer it.
Right.
And I would love to see one of these town halls where it's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're only going to bring in, 15 people from the community.
Yep.
And you're each going to get to have unlimited access to the person we're interviewing.
Right.
And we're not going to put a time on it. It's going to be over when the questions are answered.
Yeah.
And at the end of each question, the moderator should say, does that answer your question? And if no, then they got to answer it.
Yeah.
And, you just keep it on. And you know what would happen to most politicians? And unfortunately, some on the right as well.
Absolutely.
Most politicians would get up and walk out.
Yep.
They wouldn't finish the interview. I mean, even if they agreed to do the interview, they would finally just get up and walk out because most of them don't want to answer because the answer is not something that they want people hearing out of their mouth.
Right. Or they don't even know the answer. They're
And
just
that's what's
talking
going
it
on with
without
China right
knowledge.
now too.
Yeah.
It's like we've allowed China so much control over our country. I don't know if you remember this. It's been probably 8 or 10 years ago, maybe even a little more. But we found out that dog food coming from
Yeah.
China had uh, chemicals in it
Yep.
that were deadly to animals. And people's animals, their pets were dying over here because of the stuff that was in the pet food.
Right.
And it was like, and so, then all that happened was people stopped buying it. But, you know, where's our government saying, okay, you know what, China, from now on, you can't send any pet food into the U.S. until,
Yep.
you can prove to us that it's not toxic,
Yeah.
All
right. I'm going to say something. We're going to end the show, guys. I just want to mention something here. I do want to say that, I'm going to say it this way. This country is divided, and there's a couple reasons. One is social media. I'm going to go there. And I mean, we're guilty of it ourselves sometimes. We really are. We say things. But there's a lot on both sides. You got radicals on the right, radicals on the left. And the problem with that is they're almost looking at these people like they're not Americans are not people. I mean, it's gotten to that point. And social media lets this happen because I've said it before. They get more money off negative feedback than positive. People like to listen to that for some reason more. And this is a huge thing. Remember out there, we are all Americans. Everybody right now should be upset with that balloon flying over this country right now. Everybody should be upset with stuff that happened last night with Omar and all them. And saying, this talk cannot happen anymore. We need to come together. And I'm going to say it, Jerry, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I know where I'm at because I'm not going to just blame the left on that. The right's guilty of it too, some of them. I'll say a lot.
I'll agree that everybody
more of the left. I'll say it. More of the left.
And a lot of the right's
is anger.
Division is caused by the ambivalence and inaction of people, and violence and hatred does come from the left. And people are just tired of it. And that's now Republicans are starting to shoot back.
Right.
Because they're just tired of, it being allowed.
Well, and there is a point there. Okay. Yes. But do something about it. Do something about it. Which the House Speaker did. He got rid of Omar. That's part. We need to do things like that and get these people out of office who don't belong in office.
Yeah, but he didn't get rid of her because she was of color or because she was Muslim or anything like that. He got rid of her because she was on the Foreign Affairs Committee and she had spoken in many anti-American and supportive of, countries that are anti-American. And, frankly, I mean, she's had enough extramarital affairs. She doesn't need to be dealing in our foreign affairs, so.
But
she's the one that was married to her brother, if you remember.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
But my thing with this, though, is it's just getting worse, and we got to focus on what's going on in the world right now. We have more important things like China, Russia, Ukraine, all that going on right now. We don't need to give any more money to Ukraine. That's for sure. We've given so much. We're already my understanding is we're already short of certain missiles and things like that because we've given them so much, and China's aware of this. So we need to be able to build up these missiles and build things back up in our own country for defense only.
Well, the other thing is too, when I was in the Marines, I was in the beginning during the Cold War.
Go ahead.
With Russia. So we used to study and practice against Russian tactics. And actually, there was more than once that I worked. We have units in the United States back then that would actually dress in Russian uniforms, drive Russian vehicles, carry Russian weapons, everything like that. And we would actually go on field exercises against them, and they would use Russian tactics and, everything like that. So I guarantee that right now we're doing that with Chinese equipment and Chinese uniforms and everything like that. So, when you look at that, we're preparing for China because we now see Russia is not the threat that we had once thought that they were. Yeah. So we're preparing for China. The problem is that even during the Cold War, a lot of times we didn't even have the budget to fire some of the weapons that we had. And I remember the first time that I was headed for a combat zone that, some of the anti-tank guys, that had like the little, man-portable missiles. Some of them had never fired a live one. They had fired simulators, but they'd never fired a live one. I'm like, are you out of your minds? And they're like, well, no, man, it's not in the budget. And I'm like, I was like, so you're kidding me, right? It's like, so we're getting ready to go, put our life on the line, and you're our anti-tank guy. And, you've never fired a live missile. Well, if that was back in the 80s, what do you think's going on right now? When we publicly are acknowledging that we don't have enough. I mean, back then we weren't publicly acknowledging it, but it was just kind of like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink that we knew, but nobody else did.
Right.
But, now it's out. So how bad must it be if we're publicly admitting it?
Yeah, I know. It's bad out there, guys. But again, I want to say that I know everybody quit fighting amongst each other right now and realize what's going on out there. We got more important things to worry about. Not all this other stuff. There's a lot of craziness going on. As a matter of fact, I will say it. I did go into a restaurant last night. This person was dressed as a cat working at the counter. I've seen her there before, but she was never with that much makeup. I guess she's turning herself over into a cat. That's what she identifies. She's a female person. That's it. Nothing more. You can't change who you are. You're not a cat.
So she's not getting gender reassignment surgery. She's going to get species reassignment surgery.
Well, I guess they're going to have a new bathroom now.
I wonder if they make hormones for that.
They're going to have a new bathroom. Cat box over here. I don't know.
By the way, I did find the article on that the woman in New Jersey.
Yeah.
She was a New Jersey councilwoman, and basically she was shot outside her home and killed. And they said that, from what they've gathered so far, that no conversation took place between her and the other person. The person just walked up, shot her 10 times and ran away. And so, there's, that's not normal. That's not a robbery. That's not, so she is female, obviously, since I'm using she, and she's black and she's Republican.
Yes.
And so in New Jersey, that might not be real popular.
No. And I'm going to say this. Why didn't Omar and I last night bring this up? Why they should have brought this up and said, look, it's not just happening to us. It's happening to the Republicans, too. Look what just happened here.
Right. Well, because they don't want the Republicans to have any credibility.
Right.
That's the problem. That's been a problem pretty much since maybe about my second or third presidential election, because when I was younger, the two sides would disagree on a lot of stuff. But there was a lot of stuff they would work together on as well.
Absolutely. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
And unfortunately, we've gotten to the point where that's not happening right now. And so, when you look at, how things are going now, like the other day, the vote to remove Ilhan Omar from the Intelligence Committee was 218 to 214.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you something then. And this is a rhetorical question, but so you're telling me that 214 out of 214 Democrats think that she's the right person to be on that committee?
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that.
I know.
As a matter of fact, I'd be shocked if 60 believed that she really belonged on that committee.
Yeah.
But 214? No, I don't believe that. And that's a perfect example of partisan politics.
Mm. And that's where this has got to end. This stuff's got to end, guys. We've got to come together on this. And that's what my beliefs are. And Jerry, your beliefs are there too, I'm sure, because
Absolutely.
I know we've got to. We're Americans, and we come from different countries, all of us originally. Doesn't matter. We're here. We came here legally, but we're here. And then a lot of us were born here. But again, we just got to focus.
Only part of me came here illegally because I got part of, Native American. So part of me's been here from the beginning.
Interesting.
I'm just not sure which part. I'm not sure if it's my left foot, my right elbow, whatever. But
anyway, so we're talking about Jerry, Pocahontas Jerry.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Maybe I should marry Elizabeth Warren.
I'm just saying. How much proof do you have on that?
There is absolutely no proof that I would ever marry Elizabeth Warren.
And that's how a politician speaks, guys. Avoids the question.
No. Actually, it's funny. All my life, my mom and I, we had discussed it, and she had been told, and it was in her birth certificate, that she was quarter Cherokee. And so, with her being a quarter Cherokee, I was like, and it wasn't just, oh, we have high cheekbones, like Elizabeth Warren said. She actually had some sort of, documentation somewhere along the line. And so then when all this Ancestry and 23andMe and all the DNA testing went on, my mom was very curious. And so she went out and got DNA tests and found out that not only is she Cherokee, but she's also Blackfoot as well. So,
yeah. Well, there you go.
And not South American 1,640th like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. Well, I'll say it. I'm German, Irish, Scottish, and a mutt.
Yeah, I'm a mutt too. Well, I've got most of those as well. I've English, Irish, Italian,
English,
American Indian, and German. So,
at
least that's what I know about.
Yep. And most of us are mutts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, it's funny that you say that, Brian, because one thing that you just, by saying that, it goes back to what you were saying earlier about us, getting along and not being so divided.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these people out there that, have a belief that they're a certain heritage, and they buy into that lock, stock, and barrel, and they run around with a flag of their heritage and everything like that. Nowadays, with all this DNA testing and being able to track people and who they are,
right,
we're actually finding out who people really are. And I think that's could be the first stepping stone to people starting to get along, is tearing down the walls. Because once you show somebody, if somebody comes out, what more powerful way to end somebody's white supremacist thoughts than to show them that they're like a third Hispanic and a third American Indian? And it's like, and then all of a sudden, their little, white supremacy, oh gosh, what was it that Hitler was calling his master? Aryans. So they're thinking they're an Aryan, and all of a sudden you show them that, they're 2/3 what they hate.
Yeah. Hey, I want to bring up something too, since I'm talking about violent stuff out there, people just talking about trashing people and stuff like that. All right. So there's this guy, and I know Jerry's not on TikTok. I know that. I'm on TikTok, and I don't want to be on TikTok. I just do it a little bit for the social media stuff to get this stuff out there more and more. And unfortunately, I do not want to use it. The weirdest thing, though, is I have some spy software on my phone, and when I go on TikTok, no joke, it actually tells me spyware. It comes up a lot with stuff. Only on TikTok. That's really interesting, isn't it? So we're talking about China and all this today, and here I am talking about this. But I do want to talk about this guy out there. He's on pretty much every day, every night. He's on a lot, and he's called My Dude. Sounds kind of weird, but no, he talks, and I know what he's doing. He's got he gets out there live, and it talks about Ukraine. He talks about things like the vax is no proof that anybody's died from the vax. Republicans are fascist. He talks about this. He bad talks everything. Ukraine's winning the war. Send more money. That's what he says.
Why do they need more money?
You what?
If they're winning, why do they need more money?
Yeah, good point. And then he said, he goes on about all this stuff, and he goes, Joe Biden's the best president, all this. Now, that being said, people go on his show. I was listening to this. People go on his show, and they're talking, and you can hear him talking live, and he is actually trash talking to people on his own show. And you can hear the anger out of these people because they're having a normal discussion to say, let's talk about it, and he doesn't want to even listen to what they say. He disagrees with everything they say, but he's getting them angrier and angrier, and more people are watching the show because of this. Now, I want to say it. If they start talking too much, he goes up and he cuts them off. He'll say they dropped out, but he cuts them off a lot of times because he cannot answer the questions they're asking. And he talked about, matter of fact, he was talking about the coronavirus coming out of a cave and all that, saying it's real, it's not a lab made. He was talking to, so these people were actually having a conversation. He had 3 people on the show, and they're having a conversation. They're not actually physically there; they're calling in, and he is actually speaking with these people, and then he just starts trashing them and saying, "You're an idiot, you're wrong," just like that. He doesn't say, "Show me documents, show me the proof." And that's a problem. And you know why he's doing this? Because all that negativity on his show, he's getting a lot more people listening because they love that Jerry Springer attitude. And
well, absolutely, because
yeah.
people want to see
absolutely
somebody that has it worse than them. That's why people watch so much reality TV. Hey, my life is a dumpster fire.
Right.
So if I can watch a TV show where somebody's life is a landfill fire, I'll feel better about my dumpster fire life.
Right.
So, they like to watch somebody else go on and get torn up because, it gives them satisfaction for themselves in a sick way. And I will say, I think it's sick when that happens.
Yeah. And I'm going to hold my phone up just so you guys can see it. But this is what it looks like out there. This is the guy that's out there on TikTok doing this. Guys, don't listen to this guy. He has no clue what he's talking about. I tried to actually go at him a little bit. He wouldn't even listen to me. He kept ignoring me because he didn't want to debate with me, knew better. And I've called him out several times, but he'll just disconnect me. He'll just get up. He dropped off the show. No, I won't drop off the show. And I will prove that you're wrong on certain things. He just wants that because he's getting paid off that. The more people he has on his show that join him, he gets a lot more money and he gets more advertising. That's how these social media sites work, by the way, guys. Because if you have a social media site, you're getting advertisements and things like that, so therefore you're getting paid money off that. And that's what they want, more and more ads. And that's how these social media sites work, all of them. So just so you know how these things do work out there. And there are a lot of people that are saying good things out there. There are a lot of people you can see them out there just dancing, acting crazy and goofy, and people watch them. And that's just amazing. It amazes me. I don't do it for anything like that. I'm on this because I want to talk about things that are common sense. I don't care anything about the money and all that. What I care about is just right now speaking the truth and what we need to do in this country. And that's what Jerry's on a lot for, because Jerry has the background here. And I've had other people on the show, and I have other people that still want to be on this show. So, any ideas there, Jerry, before we hang up here?
You know what? You nailed it on the head, and that's one reason why I think that you do so well with your podcast is because you don't bring people on just so you can demean them, because intelligent people don't listen to and watch podcasts like that. Intelligent people want to learn. They want to gain information. They want to either validate their opinion or get information that helps them change their opinion.
Yeah.
And so, that's what, they're looking to do. But, for people like this guy that you're talking about, he's a small mind, he's a big ego, and, it's just not somebody that I would get along with. And I've known people like that treat people poorly, and I distance myself from them.
Yeah, and you need to stay away from those negative people out there.
And I know don't watch it because conditioning can happen. If you watch and listen and just say, well, I'm just interested to see what this guy, if you watch him once in a while, just so you can make sure that, you understand the reason why you don't watch them regularly.
Yeah.
Hey, fine, great, go for it. But, but if this is a regular for you, then I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. And, it is a bad thing. And that's what people are doing. They're so focused on these social media sites. And I'm saying it's not a bad thing to go to some of these things. And I like certain ones. I've done certain things where I'm not talking politics or anything else. But you need to pull yourself away from this stuff too sometimes. You notice I wasn't on for a while because I needed to back away from this stuff, because I start watching it. We're all guilty of it. And we start getting angry watching this stuff. And that's the problem. They're making money off of it. Of course they are. But pull yourself away from it and get back to real life sometimes. People live off this stuff, and it's not good. It's very, very unhealthy, because you see what's going on out there with these kids in schools, because they're seeing this stuff. They believe what's going on out there. And then, of course, A lot of this is parenting. Most of it's parenting, but the parents are letting them do this. Any thoughts, Jerry?
Yeah, another thought for another day. I won't even get into the whole parenting thing. That's another topic.
Right. Maybe we should have one on parenting.
But boy, that's a very, very valid point.
Yeah, parenting. I brought that up many times.
Yeah.
And conditioning. I brought conditioning up. You know, I've done that before too.
Exactly.
So anyway, guys, try not to hate the people out there. I know when we got on the show in the beginning of this, yes, it's anger talking from me. I'll say it. I was angry because I don't like seeing what's going on up there. No, definitely support everybody out there, but make sure we're doing the right things. We definitely need to vote certain people out of office. Definitely need to put the right people in there. And not everybody's going to agree with everything. Jerry and I don't agree with everything either. We've already had disagreements on this show. I've had it with other people on the show. But you know what? At the end, we're still friends, and we all realize that Jerry's wrong and I'm right. Yeah, right. I'm not right. Talk to my wife. She'll tell you all about it. My wife's always right.
Yeah, since it's been a while, I'll revisit the.
Oh, here we go.
Churchill. I'll revisit the Winston Churchill quote that if two people agree on everything, then one of you is not necessary. So
yeah, good point.
Dissension is a great conversation starter, and it's also one of the foundations of learning. Because, if you don't dissent, then there's nothing to converse about, and if you're not conversing, then learning from each other is nearly impossible.
Right, and not everybody's right or wrong. I know individuals out there, I'm not going to say who, but they think they're geniuses and they think they're smarter than everybody else. But I'm going to say it this way. This is my belief on life when it comes to people. I think everybody has some intelligence in more knowledge in other areas than another area, I should say. Did I say that right? I sounded very stupid on that one. But do you know where I'm going with this? So, for example, there could be somebody out there who's hardly making any money, who doesn't have the skills to do certain things, but yet they have a lot of intelligence in other areas. And I could sit here and I'm like, I couldn't do half the stuff they do sometimes. I mean, it's just out there. We're all intelligent, and we're just not knowledgeable in some of the areas out there. Now, when it comes to criminals and things like that, again, look at the things they do. They actually speculate, they actually get out here. Listen to me, I sound like Cortez. They actually get out there and they know when people are leaving the house. They know, they watch all this stuff. But again, they're doing wrong stuff. Does that make sense, Jerry? Did I break that down right?
No, it actually does. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Some of these criminals are intelligent to do what they do, but they're stupid to do it.
Well, some of the criminals are not only intelligent, but they put so much effort into their crime that if they were to put their intelligence and their effort into a legitimate endeavor, they would probably make as much or more money without going to prison.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sad. Crime's going up and all that. We've seen that, but that's another story for another day. We've talked about that. All right, guys, we've been on 52 minutes. That's a long podcast. We were only going to do this for a little bit because I've got dinner plans tonight.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm taking my wife out for dinner. I don't know where. So, but otherwise.
Just not the place with the cat lady.
No. I don't even know how she could see because her eyelashes were literally, I'd say, 6 inches on top, 6 inches on the bottom. I couldn't even see her eyes.
Good gosh.
I'm not kidding. It was that scary. And yet, she was just doing register, but I mean, I'm glad she's not working on my food. I don't know how many cat hairs I would have in my food.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That's crazy. I mean, it's okay to do cosplay and stuff like that for fun when you get out there, like Halloween and all that, but don't do it think you're really going to be part of that. Don't think you're actually a cat or whatever the case may be.
This has been one of those things that's little by little been creeping its way into our society, and I know that years back you saw the pictures of those people that would have like horns implanted under their skin on their forehead and stuff like that. And it's just this is the next step.
I know.
And it's unfortunate because these people need help, not encouragement.
Right. That's exactly what they do. And their parents need to get out there and help them and quit saying, oh, aren't they so cute? They'll grow out of it.
This goes back to, some of what we were talking about, the people that want to see a bigger dumpster fire than their own. It's like people to tell somebody like this, oh yeah, you want to be a cat? No, yeah, you should do that. Yeah, go get a tattoo, on your face, and, go get modifications made to yourself, because they're like, man, that person's not crazy enough to do that. But if they do, hey, good, man, then nobody will look at me. They'll be looking at that person.
Yeah. I mean, that's their choice. I always say it that way. All right, guys. Just want to thank everybody out there. Want to thank our law enforcement for everything you guys do. Want to thank our first responders for everything you guys do, our firefighters, our truck drivers, our farmers. You guys are going through a lot right now. There's a lot of cold weather out there, a lot of warm weather. It's been crazy out there right now. So I'm hoping we see at least one round of snow here, which is odd. At least one round of snow. I don't think we will at this point, but we'll see. All right. Anything else, Jerry, before we hang up?
Now that you gave up on snow, it's going to happen, man. It's like people that are trying to have a kid and then they finally give up, and then next thing you know, they're pregnant. Since you just gave up on snow, it's official. We're going to get snow this year now.
Well, we're not having kids, so.
Well, I know at my age, I better not.
But I will know how to parent right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if I did.
Just saying. All right, guys. Well, God bless you. God bless America. Have a great day. And definitely contact your congressman. Contact everybody, other congressmen and women, and tell them, get that balloon out of the air. Tell Joe Biden to do the right thing. Oh, and just shoot it down or whatever. That was the other thing before I hang up. They were worried about what would happen if they shot the balloon down. Yeah, I don't know where the ammo would go. I don't know what they would do to shoot that balloon down, but the ammo does have to go somewhere. But they're over Montana. There's a lot of land there. But again, which is more important? I mean, they're both important, but I mean, we got to get that balloon out of the sky somehow. We do. Right, Jerry?
Absolutely.
All right. You guys have a great night. God bless you. God bless America. Take care and have a great day. And go spend time with your friends and family. And yes, I have some friends that are Democrats out there, although I'm working on converting them over. It's a lot of work. No. But take care, guys. Have a good day. Bye.